بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم لا حول ولا قوة إلا بالله العلي العظيم الحمد لله رب العالمين وصلى الله على سيدنا ونبينا أبي القاسم المصطفى محمد وآله الطيبين الطاهرين لا سيما بقية الله في الأراضين أجل الله تعالى فرجه الشريف وجعلنا من أعوانه وأنصاره. Alhamdulillah, we have tawfiq to continue our lectures for the months of Ramadan, and thanks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, our discussion of Aqaid al-Imamiyyah has reached very relevant part, which is about Imamah. And I was thinking of a topic that would be relevant for tonight, which is the night of strike of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, and also night of Qadr, plus to be somehow continuing our discussion. So what I would like to do with you is to expand on the topic of last night. We talked about the knowledge of the Imams, and we want to inshallah discuss more tonight about the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam, and if I have time, inshallah talk about the knowledge that the Hujjah of Allah receives in Laylatul Qadr. I briefly mentioned very quickly that in Laylatul Qadr, with the ink of light, things will be written on the heart of the Hujjah of Allah. So inshallah I want to read that hadith and expand on that if there is time tonight. If not, inshallah another night. So regarding the knowledge of Imams alayhimus salam, in particular Imam Ali alayhi salam, if I can share my screen, then I would like to read for you something from Al-Qadir by Ayatollah Amini, and then I will explain inshallah with me. Or maybe it's easier if I send you the link.
Yeah, we can do that.
Yeah, it needs some settings. Okay, I can send it to Badr Abdul Karim, or
Sure.
this is from volume 3 of Al-Ghadir. Ayatollah Amini rahmatullah alayh, not the Ayatollah Ibrahim Amini who passed away recently rahmatullah alayh in the months of Ramadan, who was a great also contemporary scholar, but this is another Ayatollah Amini, Abdul Hussein al-Amini, who compiled a huge encyclopedia called Al-Ghadir. It's 11 volumes, and he did lots of work, lots of research to document Hadith Qadir from any kind of source that was available. Even if it was difficult for him, he had to travel. So if you are able to see, I can start, and inshallah you can follow. He talks about, this is volume 3, page 95. He talks about what Ibn Hazm al-Andalusi, he has a book, Al-Fasl fil Milal wal Ahwa'i wal Nahal. In that book, which is also available online, the version that I have found is page 213. And he talks also, maybe page before it starts, but the part that Allama Amini quotes is from here. He talks about the first and second caliph having more knowledge than Amir al-Mu'minin, which is very rare claim, because normally our Sunni brothers don't claim like this. But he was very odd in this claim, and he tried to argue that they had more knowledge than Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. And one of the things he also wants to mention is that because Amir al-Mu'minin, for example, stayed longer than them, then he had more chance to narrate hadith. But still, he says the hadith that the second caliph has narrated is more than Amir al-Mu'minin, and etc. So, did you find it?
Yeah, it's up now.
Okay, very good. Yes. So, he says that كذب من قال بأن عليا كان أكثر الصحابة علما. Ibn Hazm, he says, whoever says that Ali was most knowledgeable among the companions of the Prophet has lied, and tries to expand on explaining that the first caliph was more knowledgeable than Imam Ali alayhi salam, and he says that علم كل ذي حظ من العلم الذي كان عند أبي بكر من العلم أضعاف ما كان عند علي منه. He makes such a claim that whoever has some portion of knowledge, has benefited from knowledge, knows that the knowledge that the first caliph had is several times more than the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'minin. And then he talks about the fact that the second caliph lived earlier than Amir al-Mu'minin salam, and he says everyone would find it very evident, ilman zaruriyan, it's a self-evident knowledge, that the knowledge that the second caliph had was أضعاف ما كان عند علي من العلم, many times more than the knowledge of Amir. So not only the first caliph, the second caliph also had many times more knowledge than Amir al-Mu'minin. And then he says فَبَتَلَ قَوْلُ هَذِهِ الْوَقَاهِ الْجُحَّالِ. He calls Shia with such way of insulting expressions. And then he says فَإِنْ آنَدَنَا مُعَانِدٌ فِي هَذَا الْبَابِ, or فَإِنَّ آنَدَنَا مُعَانِدٌ فِي هَذَا الْبَابِ جَاهِلٌ أَوْ قَلِيلُ الْحَيَاءِ لَا هَكَذْبُ. If mu'anid, someone who is hostile, would fight us in this discussion, a mu'anid who is jahil, is ignorant, or qalilul haya, or doesn't feel embarrassed to say such things, their lie is clear and their ignorance is clear. Anyway, he makes such a claim. He doesn't just say, for example, their knowledge is equal to Amirul Mu'minin, which by itself could be very funny claim if someone said their knowledge was, equal. He goes further and says their knowledge is more than Imam Ali, and then goes further and says many times more than Ali, and then he says this is a self-evident thing, and whoever denies this is a liar and an ignorant person and has no haya, no shame. So it's very, very strange. How can someone who has a little respect for his own pen write like this? Allama Amini rahmatullah alayhi says, أنا لست أدري أأضحك من هذا الرجل جاهلا أم أبكي عليه مغفلا أم أسخر منه معتوها. He says, I don't know what to do. Shall I laugh about this person because he's so ignorant? Is it a place to laugh? Is it a place to cry because he is trying to make other people ghafil and is trying to deceive? Or should I ridicule him? I don't know what to do. It's very strange situation. He says one of the things that no one would have doubt about it is that Amirul Mu'minin alayhi salam had such a knowledge that كان يربو بعلمه على جميع الصحابة. All the companions of the Prophet, their knowledge was lower. Amirul Mu'minin's knowledge was higher than all the companions. This is something very clear. كانوا يرجعون إليه في القضايا والمشكلات. In qadaya means when there was a for example case of complaint, debate, something they needed someone to judge, qazi. If they needed qazi, someone to judge, to solve the problem, to settle the issue, they used to refer to him. There is a book, very good book, Qadaya Amir al-Mu'minin, by the late Ayatollah Tostari. Well, mushkilat, if they had very difficult issues, وَلَا يَرْجِعُ إِلَىٰ أَحَدٍ مِّنْهُمْ فِي شَيْءٍ. But Amir al-Mu'minin never referred to any of the companions of the Prophet. We don't have any case that Amir al-Mu'minin asked any companion of the Prophet for any question. But we have many, many cases that they referred to Imam Ali. And it's very famous that the second Caliph several times said, لَوْلَا عَلِيٌّ لَحَلَكَ عُمَرٌ. Then Allama Amini says, وَإِنَّ أَوَّلَ مَنْ اعْتَرَفَ لَهُ بِالْأَعْلَمِيَّةِ نَبِيُّ الْإِسْلَامِ صَلَّى اللَّهُ عَلَيْهِ وَسَلَّمَ. The first person who acknowledged and declared and certified that Amir al-Mu'minin is more knowledgeable than companions of the Prophet and other companions is Prophet himself. Who is better than the Prophet to certify this? He said to Lady Fatima, the Prophet said to Lady Fatima, أما ترضين أني زوجتك أول المسلمين إسلاما وأعلمهم علما. Aren't you happy that I married you to the first Muslim, the first person who embraced Islam is Amir al-Mu'minin. وَأَعْلَمُهُمْ ilman, and the most knowledgeable Muslim. So these hadiths that our Sunni brothers have also mentioned, and in the footnote there are references to Mustadrak of Hakim Naysaburi, Kanzul Ummal. So, and you can find it in other sources, is about knowledge of Amir al-Mu'minin being more than others according to Rasulullah's saying. Also the Prophet said to Lady Fatima, of course Lady Fatima knows this, but this is to be preserved in the history. Zawajtuka khayra ummati, I have married you to the best of my ummah. أعلمهم علما وأفضلهم حلما وأولهم سلما, the most knowledgeable, the most privileged, and the first person to enter into Islam. وقوله صلى الله عليه وآله لها, also the Prophet said to ladies. The second one also is in several books, in Muttafaq, in Jam'ul Jawami. The Prophet also said to Lady Fatima, إنه لأول أصحابي إسلاما, he is the first of my companions in Islam. Or أقدم أمتي سلمان, the one who has oldest history of Islam, is he was the first person to enter Islam in the Ummah. وأكثرهم علما, if you go to the next page, وأكثرهم علما وأعظمهم حلما, he has the greatest knowledge and the greatest helm, forbearance. In Musnad of Imam Ahmad ibn Hanbal, Istiab, many books you see there, are mentioned as references. So far we had already few quotations from the Prophet, but the list continues. Rasulullah also said, أعلم أمتي من بعدي علي بن أبي طالب. Again, the sources are mentioned, Daylami, and also Kharaz bin Manaqib, Kharaz bin Makhtar al-Hussein, Kanzul Ummal by Muttaqi al-Hindi. They have mentioned this. Rasulullah also said, Aliyun ve'a'u ilmi. This is introducing something new. In addition, having more knowledge than any companion of the Prophet, now we have something new. He is the container of the knowledge of the Prophet. This is a very new element. What does it mean? It means that you cannot reach the knowledge of the Prophet outside this wa'a. It's similar to Anna Madinatul Ilm wa Aliyun Babuha. I am the city of knowledge and Ali is the gate. This is similar to that. Ali is the container of my knowledge. Can knowledge be found outside then? No, because otherwise it's not container. If something is a container, it means it should contain. So if you want knowledge of Rasulullah, you should go to this container. It should go to this person, Ali alayhi salam. Wa wasi, and of course there's a close link. He is my wasi, he is my successor, so my knowledge also would be with him. Wa babi alladhi u'ta min. Very beautiful. Wa babi alladhi u'ta min. Ali is my gate. If someone wants to come to me, ata yati means to come. Yu'ta means to go to someone. So Ali is the gate from which people can come to me. This is also mentioned by our Sunni brothers, and the sources are Shamsul Akhbar, Kifayatul Kanji. In another hadith, Rasulullah said, Aliyun Babu Ilmi This is also emphasizing on the way to reach the knowledge of the Prophet and benefit from the knowledge. Ali alayhi salam is the gate of knowledge, my knowledge. وَمُبَيِّنٌ لِأُمَّتِي مَا أُرْسِلْتُ بِهِ مِنْ بَعْدِي means مُبَيِّنٌ مِنْ بَعْدِي لِمَا أُرْسِلْتُ بِهِ. This مِنْ بَعْدِي belongs to Mubayyin. Ali is the one who explains for my ummah what I have been sent with. Means my message, Islam, Quran, after me is explained by Ali alayhi salam. In another hadith, Rasulullah said, Aliyun khazinu ilmi. Ali is preserving and saving my knowledge. Khazan from khazan, khazan, khaza'in means to save, to keep. Aliyun aibatu ilmi. Ali is the sign or the flag, something like this, of my knowledge. This is by many people. In Shah Najjar al-Balagha by Ibn Abil Hadid, Al-Jami' al-Saghir by Suyuti, who is Shafi, and also in his book Jam' al-Jawami, again by Suyuti, and many people you see, there are maybe 10 or more sources. Just here is these are not inclusive references. Maybe there are other references, just as a sample. Also Rasulullah said, Aqwa ummati Ali. The best judge in my ummah is Ali. Also he said, Aqwakum Ali. The best judge among you is Ali. Also Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam said that there is no one to be prophet after me. There is no one to be prophet after me, but he is the most knowledgeable about the judgment. So basically it means that if you come lower than the level of receiving revelation, then other types of knowledge and capabilities are there. And also he said hikmah is divided, wisdom is divided into 10 parts, and Ali has been given 9 parts, and people are given 1 part. This is another hadith. So then there are other things. For example, Rasulullah said, Alhamdulillah alladhi ja'ala al-hikmata fina ahl al-bayt. All praise to Allah who has put hikmah inside us, the family, the household, the Prophet and his family. Or for example, he said, Aliyun ana madinatul ilm wa aliyun babuha. And he says, this is bin nusus al-mutawatirah. Many narrators in different generations have narrated this, so that leaves no chance of being fabricated or being a mistake, because tawatur must be every generation of narrated by every generation so many times that leaves no doubt. And he says no doubt is about the occurrence of this hadith, that Ali is the gate of the knowledge of the Prophet, the gate of the knowledge and wisdom of the Prophet. And we have also in Dua Nudbah, فَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْمَدِينَةَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ فَلْيَأْتَهَا مِنْ بَابِهَا, is because Rasulullah said, أَنَا مَدِينَةُ الْإِلْمِ وَعَلِيٌّ بَابُهَا فَمَنْ أَرَادَ الْمَدِينَةَ وَالْحِكْمَةَ فَلْيَأْتَهَا مِنْ بَابِهَا. So it refers to this hadith which is mutawatir. Also, the wife of the Prophet said, Aisha said, Aliyun a'lamun nas bis-sunnah. In Isti'ab, in Al-Isaba, there is a edition that in the margin, there is the book Al-Isti'ab, is there in Riyad al-Nadara, Manaqib Kharazmi, Sawa'iq, Tariq al-Khulafa, that even the wife of the Prophet, who was not a Shia or follower of Ali, says, Aliyun a'lamun nas bis-sunnah. Or the second Khalifa himself says, Aliyun aqdana. Ali is the best of us in judging. Or he said, Aqdana Aliyun. The best judge among us is Ali. And he has famous words that he shows, he has famous words that show that he had a great need for Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. More than once he said, Lawla Aliyun lahalaka Umar. And there are several sources here. Or Allahumma la tubqini limu'dhilatin laysa laha ibn Abi Talib. He said to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah, please do not let me leave for any difficulty, any challenge, if Ali is not there. Don't let me stay alive and go through challenges when Ali is not there. Mu'adhala means something that is very difficult and challenging and puts you in under big pressure. Or he said, La abqani Allahu bi'ardin laysat fiha Abul Hasan. May Allah not let me be in any land if Ali is not there. And he also said, La abqani Allahu ba'daka ya Ali. May Allah not let me leave after you. When the second Khalifa, who was in a position of power, and for him saying these things shows that he was not hesitant to say this. This was something that, because normally someone who is in power and has a kind of rivalry or competition, for example, with someone, or thinks that someone is a challenge, may be hesitant to say these things. But it shows that Alhamdulillah, he was able to say these things, and these were so obvious, and also he also for some reason kept saying these things. So we are thankful that he mentioned all these things, and maybe if he was there and Ibn Hazm was saying these things, he would have punished Ibn Hazm. He said, A'udhu billah min mu'dhilatin wala Abu Hasana laha. Again, very strong statement. I seek refuge from Allah with respect, or refuge with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala about a challenge, a big problem, when there is no Abu Hassan, or no such Abu Hassan, someone like Abu Hassan. Or A'udhu billah an Aisha fi qawmin lasta fihim ya Abul Hasan. I ask Allah for refuge to live among people that you are not among them, O Abul Hasan. Or A'udhu billah an Aisha fi qawmin laysa fihim Abul Hasan. And these are all documented. Allama Amini has done great research. He doesn't just take pen like Ibn Hazm, saying things. Everything is documented. Allahumma la tunzil bi shadida illa wa Abul Hasan illa jambi. Oh Allah, please don't send any challenge, any calamity, unless Ali is next to me. And also, la baqitu li mu'dhilatin laysa laha Abul Hasan. may not be in any challenge unless Abu Hassan is there for that challenge to help. لا أبقاني الله إلى أن أدرك قوما ليس فيهم أبو الحسن. May Allah not let me live that long that I be witnessing people among them there is no Abu Hassan. I don't want to be with that generation that they have lost Imam Ali alayhi salam. And then he says other people also mentioned this, so they were aware of what the second Khalifa used to say about Amir al-Mu'minin. Sa'id ibn al-Musayyib says كان عمر يتعوذ بالله من معزلة ليس لها أبو الحسن. So now someone should say to to Ibn Hazm, how do you say his knowledge was many times more than Ali when everyone knows? And he himself said so many times in so many different ways. I don't think any person has ever maybe declared someone else has more knowledge than him like the second caliph has declared. Certainly not among the politicians, certainly not among people who belong to two camps. I don't think anyone has ever mentioned so many things in so many different ways in such a strong language. And then it was so obvious that other people also have repeated what he said, so it was not something in private. Sa'id ibn Musayyib says كان عمر يتعوذ بالله من منزلة ليس لها أبو الحسن. He says the second caliph كان يتعوذ, this is we call ماضي استمراري, means this is not once or twice. He used to ask Allah for refuge with respect to any challenge that Ali is not there. Muawiyah also said this. كان عمر إذا أشكل عليه شيء أخذ منه. Muawiyah says when the second caliph found something difficult, took it from Ali. And when Muawiyah, who was enemy of Amir al-Mu'minin, a real enemy, because he actually even went to fight Amir al-Mu'minin in Siffin. He was fighting Amir al-Mu'minin, and he was keeping all the time troubling Amir al-Mu'minin, sending spies, bribing people, all the things that he used to do to put hatred towards Imam Ali in the hearts of people. So Muawiyah, with such enmity with Imam Ali alayhi salam, when he heard that Amir al-Mu'minin has been martyred, he said, لقد ذهب الفقه والعلم بموت ابن أبي طالب. This is these are moments that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala wants to make haqq very clear. This is the power of light, that sometimes people who used to fight this light, then they are overwhelmed and they have to reflect this light with all their dirt and with all their ugliness. Light now uses them to spread through them. Actually now, when Muawiyah says this, is more important than a pious person saying this, because this pious person could be said as a friend of Ali. But when an enemy says this, we say al-fadlu ma shahidat bihil a'da. If something is said by your enemies and your enemies bear witness, that's the real fazl, real merit. So Muawiyah, all maybe his life from childhood had hatred because of the history in their family, his mother Hind, his father Abu Sufyan, his uncles, all these problems that he had, Muawiyah, and every hatred that they had for Rasulullah, they had to show it to Ali, because they couldn't, show hatred to Rasulullah. Otherwise, people would, kill them. Everything they showed to Ali alayhi salam. But now, he says, لَقَدْ ذَهَبَ الْفِقْهُ وَالْعِلْمُ بِمَوْتِ ابْنِ أَبِي طَالِبٍ. Once actually, I read what Muawiyah said about Imam Ali alayhi salam in 1 month of Ramadan. Maybe inshallah I find it and share it again. And then he quotes what Imam Hassan alayhi salam said as a member of Ahlul Bayt, as a companion of the Prophet. Of course, he's very respected by everyone. لَقَدْ فَارَقَكُمْ رَجُلٌ بِالْأَمْرِ لَمْ يَسْبِقْهُ الْأَوَّلُونَ وَلَا يُدْرِكُهُ الْآخِرُونَ بِعِلْمٍ. Must be رَجُلٌ بِالْأَمْسِ, maybe. A man left you yesterday that no one preceded him among earlier people, and no one among people who come later would reach him about knowledge. Means previous people and people who come later, no one would be able to be like Ali in knowledge. Ibn Abbas said, وَاللَّهِ لَقَدْ أُعْطِيَ عَلِيُّ بْنُ أَبِي طَالِبٍ تِسْعَةَ أَعْشَارِ الْعِلْمِ وَأَيْمُ اللَّهِ لَقَدْ شَارَكَكُمْ فِي الْعُشْرِ الْعَاشِرِ. He says, by God, Ibn Abbas is someone that all Muslims accept him and have great respect for him, especially for his knowledge. And this is why he says, Hibrul Ummah. All Ummah accept him as a great scholar. So he said, and he was a student of Amir al-Mu'minin. He says, by Allah, Ali ibn Abi Talib was given 9/10 of knowledge, and by Allah, the 1/10 which remained for other people, again Ali shared with them. Means more than 90% was with Ali alayhi salam. Of course, this is all coming from Rasulullah to Amir al-Mu'minin. He's the successor of Rasulullah. He also said, ما علمي وعلم أصحاب محمد صلى الله عليه وسلم في علم علي رضي الله عنه إلا كقطرة في 7 أبحر. Look at what he says. He says, my knowledge and knowledge of companions of the Prophet, if you put all our knowledge together, compared to the knowledge of Ali, is not except 1 drop of water in 7 seas and oceans. So there are, mashallah, much more there, and our time unfortunately is over. But I want you to remember 2 things from tonight. One is the knowledge of Amir al-Mu'minin alayhi salam. When we say he had ilmul kitab, it's not something small. It's a great idea supported by great evidence. He had all the knowledge of the book. He had knowledge of the Quran, knowledge of the unseen, of course, bi'idhnillah, and through the Prophet. He was a student of the Prophet. He was brought up by the Prophet. But Allah, for guiding human beings, gives this knowledge to his chosen people. He gives to Rasulullah and then gives to the successors of Rasulullah. So his knowledge is exceptional. I mean, cannot be compared to any companion of the Prophet. Number 2, to see how the Ummah was somehow asleep, if not dead, you can say asleep. How you can have someone with such status among you? And the first people who declare this are the people that either you have taken them as your Khalifa, or you respect them as your scholars. They all say Ali is more knowledgeable with such distance. Then how can you boycott him? How can you fail to learn Islam from him? If you don't want to put him in the position of Khalifa, that's another issue. But why you didn't take your Islam from him? Why Khalifa himself didn't say, I am Khalifa, but take your salat, fasting, other ahkam from Ali? So this is a question. And with all this, how can someone like Ibn Hazm claims that they were more knowledgeable than Ali بأضعاف, and still this person has followers, and still actually many problems that we have in the Muslim world are because of people like him. If you remember many years ago, the previous Pope Benedict the Sixth, in a university in Germany, he spoke in early stage of his time, that Islam is not in favor of reason and logic, and he quoted something from a book that was from Ibn Hazm's book, because he was against logic. Not only was against philosophy, he was against logic. So such people, so close-minded, so stubborn, unfortunately still they have followers and they are considered as scholars. This is a sad thing, but the only way is we have to be patient, and we have to emphasize on, inshallah, education, discussion, dialogue with our Sunni brothers, and they are from us, we are from them. We have to continue, as Amir al-Mu'minin offered whatever he had for the service of Islam and Ummah. We should inshallah do the same. May Allah inshallah enable us to be true followers of Ahlul Bayt alayhimus salam, and may Allah enable us to gain from their knowledge and wisdom with open heart and mind, inshallah. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen.